Hello Year 4 and welcome to your Tuesday afternoon science lesson. This is going to be our last lesson in the topic that we've been doing about sound. And what we thought we'd do is make an information poster to show off about how much you know about sound from everything we've learned over the last couple of weeks. So let's just start by revising what we did last lesson. Last lesson we said echoes have the same pitch but a quieter volume than the original sound. Remember we said that an echo is a repeated sound. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and see if you can explain to yourself or your teddy or your cat why that might be. So echoes have the same pitch but a quieter volume than the original sound, than the first sound. Why is that? If you remember from our last lesson, we were looking at this picture and we said that the first sound is made, that's these blue lines that we've got here. I'll just draw on here so we can see. So we've got the first sound is made and vibrations travel through the air particles, travel, and they're the same pitch and the same volume. And then they hit a hard surface, which is a solid object. And some of those vibrations, well, the object vibrates and it vibrates the air particles going backwards this way. But this vibration isn't as strong as the original vibration, so it's not as strong, but it's still the same pitch. It's still the same high or low sound that was made, but it's not as strong a vibration because it's only a reflected vibration. It's only like a repeated vibration. It's only this wall hasn't vibrated as much as your vocal cords did to start with. So it's only a small vibration in comparison. And that's why echoes have the same pitch, so the same sound. When we listened to that man playing his trumpet last lesson, it was the same sound coming back from that big cliff opposite him, but it was quieter than the original sound. So the original sound was much bigger vibrations, and then when they were sent backwards, they were quieter, smaller vibrations. Okay, so thinking again about echoes, which one of these spaces do you think would have more of an echo? Do you think it would be the woodland? Do you think it would be the beach? Or do you think it would be this like seaside cave? And why do you think that? So pause the video and have a little think about that. Okay, so hopefully you realised that to have an echo, you need to have some solid surfaces for that echo to be reflected back from. And you can see, if you look at the pictures, that the one with the most kind of solid, hard surfaces in is the cave, because it's got all those kind of stone walls around it. On the beach, there aren't really any hard surfaces at all. And in the woodland, there are some trees, but they're not kind of solid. They're only sort of thin, solid bits and there's lots of air in there as well. So in the cave, you get much more of an echo than in the woodland or on the beach. So let's just remember what we've learned about sound, because we have learned really quite a lot in the last couple of weeks, and it'd just be good to see what we do remember. And let's see if we can fill in some of these missing words. It says sound is made when materials, see if you can fill in that blank. Hopefully you can. And the missing word is vibrate. So sound is made when materials vibrate. And we hear sounds when those vibrations pass to our ear. So the missing word there is vibrations. Let's look at this next one. So it says weak vibrations create something sounds and strong vibrations create something sounds. So have a think about that. Maybe think about what we were talking about with echoes just then. If something's got a really strong vibration, or if something's got quite a weak vibration. Okay, so hopefully if you've thought about that one, you'll remember that weak vibrations create quieter sounds. So when the vibration is only a little vibration, the sound that we hear is smaller because it's only a few vibrations reaching our ears. And strong vibrations create louder sounds. So if something's vibrating a lot, making big vibrations, and those big vibrations travel to make lots and lots of air particles vibrate, then they will sound in our ear like they're a big sound, a loud sound. And then finally, what about these ones then? So we've got fast vibrations create something pitched sounds, and slow vibrations create something pitched sounds. So we've talked, the previous ones we're talking about volume, and here we're talking about pitch. The pitch of a sound is how high or low it is. So if it's a fast vibrations, what do you think? Do you think it creates high sounds, or low sounds? Pause the video and see if you can think what those gaps might be. We've got high and we've got low sounds. Okay, so hopefully you remembered that high sounds are created by fast vibrations. When something vibrates really fast, that's a higher sound. And slow vibrations create much lower sounds, lower pitched sounds. In today's lesson, we're going to be making an information poster about sound, and you're going to use this opportunity to really show off to your teaching team what an expert you are about sound and how much you've learned in the last couple of weeks. Your poster is going to look like this. There is going to be a template attached to the assignment, so you can just write straight into that template if you want to. If you're somebody who prefers to do things by hand, then you can copy this onto a piece of A4 paper and you can make your own poster, but you do need to make sure that you've still got the same things on it. Your poster is going to have a title. So if you can follow the sign from where it says title up to the top of the page, and that's where you're going to have the title. There's going to be a space for a picture, which you're going to need to do at the end of when you finish doing the writing part. And there's also a space for your name at the bottom of the sheet. In the other three boxes, we're going to be writing some information. You need to make sure that you're reading those subheadings really carefully and answering the questions there with as much information as you can in full sentences. So let's get started. So as I've already said, you can either open the template on the assignment and type your answers into it, or if you prefer, you can make a very similar poster type with the same amount of information on it using a paper and pen and send a photo to your teacher. I know some people prefer to do that. Okay, so you're going to start off, your title is going to be at the top of your sheet of paper, and our title is going to be sound. And you might want to make these quite big letters, you might want to make them quite fancy letters, you might want to do capitals. It's up to you. You make it look really, really good. I think if I could do this a bit better, maybe I could do rainbow letters, or maybe I could do different font or something. Okay, so it's going to really stand out and make people look at your information poster and think, wow, that looks really interesting. I want to read that poster. Okay, let's have a green one as well. Whoops. Tricky to do. Okay, so I've got my title at the top of my page, and if you wanted to, you could have something else. You could maybe say sounding good, all about sound. You decide what your title might be. So it could just be sound, or it could be all about sound, or something like that. Okay. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to write your first paragraph, and the first paragraph is asking the question, what is sound? That's your subheading in this paragraph. So everything that you write in this paragraph is going to be answering that question, what is sound? When you open your assignment, you'll see that there is a word map there to help you. So if you want to, you can open that up and that will help you. You can also come back to this video and you can pause it on this page so that you can see the sentence starters, and you can maybe pause it on this page, write what you're going to write in this part of your poster, and then come back to it a bit later on and write the next bit, go on in the video a bit further, pause it again to write your next paragraph. So it's kind of up to you how you want to do this. Okay, so I'm going to start typing here. I'm just going to make my writing a bit smaller now because this is a paragraph, so it doesn't need to be as big a lettering as I had for my heading. Okay, so I've got some sentence starters down here, and I'm going to start by saying sound is made when, and when we were talking earlier, we said that sound is made when materials vibrate or objects vibrate. So sound is made when materials, make sure I'm spelling that correctly, materials vibrate, full stop. I've got my capital letter at the beginning of my sentence, I've got my full stop at the end. Now I'm going to look back at my sentence starters, and I've got another sentence starters that says some instruments make sounds by. So I could talk a little bit about the different types of instruments, couldn't I? Some instruments make sound by, and if you think about the three different types of instruments that we've got string instruments, percussion instruments, and wind instruments. So I'm going to go with strings vibrating, and some make sound by the object itself vibrating. Okay, full stop. So I'm describing what sound is and different ways of making sound. And then I'm going to use this last sentence starter. It says we can't hear sound when. And do you remember right back at the beginning of this unit, we watched that video of the alarm clock, which was inside a glass jar, and the scientists pumped all of the air particles out of there. And as they did that, we couldn't hear that sound anymore. So we can't hear the sound when there are no particles. I'm looking at the top of my word mat in that top row for that spelling of particle. There are no particles in the air, full stop. Okay, so let's just check about answering what is sound. Sound is made when materials vibrate. Some instruments make sound by strings vibrating, and some make sound by the object itself vibrating. So I'm talking about stringed instruments and percussion instruments. If I wanted to, I could actually add that in, couldn't I? I could say some make sounds by strings vibrating, and percussion instruments make sound by the object itself vibrating. So I'd add that in here. And then I've said we can't hear sound when there are no particles in the air. Okay, so I've done quite a good job of answering that question, and I can move on to my next paragraph. Some people are going to have additional help in the form of this sentence frame to help them. So again, that's loaded up onto your assignment as a separate document. You can just open that up and you'll be able to see these sentence frames there. So that can help you when you're writing your paragraph. So I could say for this one, what is sound? I could say sound, following across my word mat here. So I'm saying sound is when objects vibrate. Or I could say sound is made when objects vibrate. So I'm going to go with that. Sound is made when objects vibrate. Full stop. Okay. And I might want to add another sentence. If I want to, I could do that using the sentence frames. Next, we're going to write the next paragraph is about how we hear sound, because obviously we know that there are vibrations in different particles, but how do we actually hear those sounds? Again, I've got some sentence starters in red at the bottom of my page, and again, I've got my word mat to help me with any spellings and to give me some ideas about what I might want to write. So how do we hear sound? I'm going to finish this sentence that says, when material vibrates, that's gone a little bit funny on my box. I'm just going to sort that out. When a material vibrates, and that's telling me when at the start of a sentence, I'm going to put my comma in there. When a material vibrates, and what actually happens at that point, when that string on the guitar vibrates, the air particles around it start to vibrate too, don't they? So I can maybe write something about that. The air particles, whoops. Again, I've got particles on that top row of my word mat to help me if I need to with any spellings. When a material vibrates, the air particles around it vibrate. Vibrate's a verb, and that's down at the bottom of my word mat in one of those orange boxes in the bottom left-hand corner. Vibrate too. And sound waves travel, and they travel from particle to particle. So remember we had those diagrams with those red balls which were representing the particles, and the vibrations, one vibrates and that bangs into another one and that vibrates and that sends it along. So the sound waves travel from particle to particle, full stop. And when the vibration reaches our ear, when it reaches our ear, it goes along the ear canal and it goes through the eardrum, doesn't it? So I could say something about that, or I could just say it sends a signal to our brain. Okay, to say that we have heard a. Okay, so how do we hear sound? I'm talking about how we've heard it here. I'm talking about what happens from when the material vibrates, all that journey of that sound traveling. I'm happy with that. Okay, if you want to use the sentence frame, if you want to use this one, you're going to have some different sentences you can make. You can say vibrations travel from particle to particle. Let's have that to start with. Vibrations travel from particle to particle, full stop. And I could say sound waves move through the air. I could say sound waves reach your ear. And then I can say your ear, this is on the bottom row, your ear sends a signal to your brain. So let's go with that one. Your ear sends a signal to your brain. Full stop. Okay, this is the last paragraph we're going to write. So we've got 3 paragraphs to write, and then the rest of it's just writing your name, writing the title, and doing the picture. So in this last paragraph, we're saying what makes sounds different. And we've already talked about at the beginning of this lesson how sounds can be high volume or big volume, loud sounds, or very quiet sounds with a small volume. And we've talked about how sounds can be really high pitched or really low pitched. So we're saying what is it that makes sounds sound different? So let's talk a little bit about that. We've got this sentence frame at the bottom of the page. It says sounds can be something like something. So I might start off with a sentence like that, and I'm going to say something like sounds can be, and I'm looking on the word mat, and I can say they can be loud like a trumpet or loud like a motorbike. Okay, so I could say sounds, or I could say sounds could be low pitched like a motorbike. But let's go with sounds can be loud like a motorbike. Oops. When sounds are quiet, looking on my word mat at the adjectives here in the turquoise, when sounds are quiet, it is because the vibrations, again looking at the top of that word vibrations, top of my word mat, you can see that I've got that word there, which is really helpful for spelling. The vibrations are strong. Oh no, they're not strong when it's loud, are they? They're strong when it's loud, so it must be the vibrations are weak. So when sounds are quiet, it's because the vibrations are weak. And Then I'm going to put, for example, when you whisper, when you make smaller vibrations, sounds a lot quieter. Okay, and then I'm going to say hi. Oh, I'm going to talk about the vibrations now. I'm going to talk about vibrations. Something vibrations make sounds something. So why don't I say high-pitched vibrations make sounds. Oh no, that's not quite right, is it? So I'm going to be choosing one of these adjectives here on this line to do this one actually. So I'm going to be saying, what type of vibrations make high-pitched sounds? Is it fast, slow, strong, or weak? And I know that it's when something's vibrating fast, when that guitar string's vibrating really fast, it sounds higher, doesn't it? So I'm going to say, fast vibrations make sounds that are high-pitched. For example, a bird singing is high-pitched, isn't it? Okay, so talk a little bit about different things. If you can in this section, try and talk about pitch and volume, because that's really showing us everything that you've understood from this unit. I could also go on to talk about, I could say something like strong vibrations. Oops, that's not worked very well for me. Strong vibrations make sounds that are loud. Like trumpet. Okay, so I've got lots of ideas there. Obviously, feel free to use your own examples, and you've probably got some better examples, but if you can't think of anything, I've put some examples of different types of sounds on the word map for you. So that should help you. And don't forget to come back to the video and look at the sentence starters as well, because they are there to help you structure your work. Okay, if you've got the different sheet, or if you want to use this sentence frame to help you, you could write your sentences like this. You could say sounds can be loud or quiet. Sounds can be high-pitched or low-pitched, full stop. And then we might say sounds are loud when vibrations are strong. Sounds are low pitched when sound waves are slow. So I'm just following my way across this word mat. So I might say sounds are quiet when vibrations are weak. Or I might say, choosing a different colour, I might say sounds can be loud when sound waves are strong. Okay, so you can see how I can find my way across this word mat, across this sentence frame, finding those words to fill my sentences in. And that's it for the writing part of it. So then all you need to do is you need to write your name at the bottom. So again, make sure it's nice and neat. You can print it, you can type it, or you can write it in if you want to. So Mrs. Southwood. And then you just need to think about how to do a picture. So it's up to you how you want to do a picture. Maybe you'd like to draw something that makes a sound, like a bird or a monkey or a musical instrument, a piano or a guitar. Maybe you'd like to just do some different types of sound waves for me. So maybe you'd like to draw some, these are high-pitched ones because they're quite close together. And then we could maybe do some low-pitched ones, which are kind of longer and looser sound waves. You could draw some different sound waves for me. I know that it might be quite difficult to draw on the computer, and I appreciate that. So if you're struggling to do that, I don't mind. You could also copy and paste a picture that represents sound for you from the internet. If you go onto Google and Google something that you think makes a good sound, you can copy and paste that into your poster. Try and make it really eye-catching, something that's going to grab your reader's attention and make them want to read all that amazing information that you've put in there. When you've finished, you need to submit your assignment in the usual way. If you've chosen to do your poster on paper, don't forget to take a photo and to email it to us so that we can see what you've done. And I'm sure Miss Whitehouse will do this in her class, but certainly any in my class that I think are really good, I will share on the posts with all of your friends so everyone can see. Okay, and that is it. So thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing all your work. Bye.